Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Pacific Rumble. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. And if you guys haven't already, go and follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you.
As always, if you're not already,
Yeah.
check out battleviewer.com.
Do it.
Same Twitch chat you know and love, plus YouTube, Twitter, all easily accessible from the same web interface. There's absolutely no reason for you not to be watching on battleviewer.com.
Not at all. Now, I hope you guys just enjoyed that Timmy marathon that you guys just watched. And if you guys don't like him,
I don't know.
Desert Fox, I'm talking to you. Don't tell him to uninstall. We're keeping him. We love Timmy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pull up the brackets now as we have the first members, Karen Tiger, are advancing to face off against Noble. But up next, we're going to be watching EL Gaming versus High Voltage. Then the battle after that, Noble versus Karen Tiger. And the finals will be the winners of both of those next matches. It's going to be exciting indeed. But the match right now that we are both excited to watch, EL Gaming versus High Voltage. EL Gaming we got to see in the show match during the Tier 10 kind of fun matchup we had. They went to a tiebreaker. They lost to Noble. And if they lost to Noble, maybe they'll also lose to... No, actually, now High Voltage and EL have both lost to Noble, so they're kind of on even footing there. But we were talking about EL. Well, I'm sorry. We were talking about EL and how their aggression is amazing and their timing is great. But watching High Voltage during the Season 1 for NA, their aggression is amazing. Their timing is great. They dominated the entire series, and I'm super excited to see these two teams face off against each other. Would you say they have similar styles, or where do they differ?
Absolutely. Very similar styles overall.
Okay.
Not a whole lot of differences. In fact, if there are any differences at all, aside from their own typical version of doing one thing, the core elements are the same. And we'll only see more and more of that as time goes on today, unless they somehow changed between the last time we've seen it play.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, now the first map, which I'm interested in, that we already see, is going to be Himmelsdorf. Now, starting off in here, and this is the map in the finals for NA that High Voltage struggled on against Noble. So I'm excited to see how they kind of prove themselves here, or after they show up. And the question is, do they have any kind of new tactics? Have they, improved on some old things that didn't quite go well during the finals? I'm definitely excited to see this. But David, I don't know about you, but I think it would be amazing to see High Voltage pick this one up. Noble pick up the next one, and then see a repeat of the finals for High Voltage versus Noble. That is what I'm excited about. That is a possibility that is still in the air.
I mean, not that you're biased or anything like that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
No.
Obviously.
I'm literally picking random. I just looked. Oh, what's this team? High Voltage and Noble. I'll pick them. I'll pick those two teams. No, of course. I mean, we're the NA casters. I love those teams. They were both here just a couple weeks ago in our studios. It was so great to meet all those guys. But EL. Karen Tigers, amazing teams as well. Obviously, they're amazing to make it here. Both the top teams in their regions, their respective regions. So it will be exciting to see these two teams face off against each other. I want to see mines. I want to see EL and High Voltage on mines. I would love to see just what I expect to be an explosion in the center.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see it in the next map. It also wouldn't surprise me if we don't see it at all. EL could very easily have done their homework and just like, nah, we're banning mines early.
Put you on mines. That is true. That is true. We might not see it at all.
But at the same time, you would have thought then that High Voltage wouldn't want to play Himmelsdorf at all. Maybe they got a little bit more comfortable with it. Maybe they're taunting the beast here.
Ooh.
But either way, if I had to choose who probably picked this map, I would probably guess that EL picked this map. And if High Voltage were to get their dream pick for the next map, that it would be mines.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out relatively soon here. Just waiting on the teams to kind of sit down,
load in,
buckle in, get ready, get ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
Himmelsdorf, though, seen it all day.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah, this is the third time in every single match so far. We have seen Himmelsdorf. Another thing I kind of want to point out: EL Gaming has played. They played an entire set of 9 already against Noble.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean,
actually, Noble's the only team that didn't have to play a match before they played their match.
Oh, that's true. That is so. That is so true.
So somehow, coming out as second from the NA region in this instance was a help to them in this point in time. And
how old is it?
Well, up until they have to face #1 seed in Asia.
Right.
But facing them on some of the best possible terms, that team's already played quite a bit, which is usually a problem.
Well, now I was going to ask if EL Gaming did play in our 768 format with the tier 10s. So is there kind of maybe a lighter? They didn't. I don't know. I mean, obviously they were taking those games seriously. It went into a tiebreaker, and they played their heart out, both of those teams. But is it? Do you think there's as much fatigue as if they would have played at 754, or is it still just as tiring just to play those tanks, to get in those battles, to go through the ring of the ringer?
It's just as tiring. I would actually argue that the 768 was more tiring because the matches are longer. They actually extended the amount of time that they can play.
7-10, sure.
And it is exhausting. It's all about the physical amount of time you have to spend being stressed before you play, worrying about corralling your players so they're in the right place at the right time. Often these matches are to be determined when the time starts. So you can't, like, say, for example, EL Gaming. Just now, they could have taken, how long was that, an hour and a half break?
Yeah.
But they probably took like a 30-minute break and then came back and had to wait because that match could have gone quickly. So they can't really leave. They can't really relax. So they're just sitting there the whole time waiting for it to end. And when you're sitting there waiting for a match to end like that, it gets really exhausting. There was one instance where we played where we were ready to go, 100% primed, and then we had to wait 5.5 hours before we got to play again. And that wasn't just a World of Tanks tournament alone. It was WCGs, a lot of stuff going on there. But we went, one of the commentators there, Dorjan, shout out to you wherever you are.
Dorjan.
He actually commented, he said he felt terrible for us because he was like, man, as soon as you guys got off that last match, we'd come back from a deficit. And he was like, you guys could have had that. Like, you were ready to go.
Pumped,
and I felt so bad. You guys started falling asleep like 4.5 hours. We were literally asleep.
For five
like
hours
on the floor in a convention center.
Oh my gosh.
And it happens. And that's not the case here. Fortunately for them,
yeah.
It's not that
bad. Wasn't a 5.5 hour wait.
But it's still, what is an hour, right?
Yeah.
To us, not much. To them, it's an hour you spend worried about everything that's coming up, trying to stay focused. And it's a very, very brutal hour, and it just adds up and up and up. The only team that is playing today that has had a chance to just relax and bide their time until they get here is High Woltage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a great point to make, that they really do that might give them that upper edge here coming into this battle against EL Gaming. There we see both the teams on your screen right now. EL just kind of looking, like I said, they're just getting ready in. Everyone's kind of getting ready to load in. The tank picking should be happening any minute now. But kind of going back to just, I love all of the just the things that go into these live events that you just don't see during the seasons. Again, these people during the normal seasons are at their house. They're comfortable. They're at their normal time schedules. They got a good night's rest. They have the food in their refrigerator they always eat.
Food is the biggest thing, man. I'm telling you.
Hearing the stories is amazing. And now, again, going to these live events, they travel. There's jet lag. There's food. The water's different. The sleep is different. I mean, it's absolutely intense on how much extra, I'm going to call it stress, is put on these players.
Actually, so an interesting thing is StarCraft players. I mean, they're just interesting in general, right? We're talking about they have rulers and they'll measure out to the millimeter the spacing on their keyboard, mouse pad, and all that, and all of that. Some of them have literal hand warners to get their hand ready to go. Anyways, in one of them, very first international tournament I went to, I met a guy and he had a whole carry-on bag full of food. And it wasn't like he was allowed to bring it in because it was like prepared food and stuff. And it was frozen soup that he had made at home.
Wow.
Right? And all of us were like, what a weirdo. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
About a day and a half later, we all of a sudden got it.
We want that soup.
He solved all of this problem a long time ago because he'd been there. He actually told us later, he was like, I've gotten food poisoning 3 times.
What?
Yeah. And so he told us later, he's like, no. When I come out to win my money, I bring my food, and I do nothing.
Take it seriously.
But like, he gets good night rest. He eats only the food that he brought. Doesn't touch anything else.
Wow.
And that's how he avoided it for the longest time. And he was one of the more successful StarCraft 2 players overall. But that's something that we eventually learned from. We started bringing a lot of our own food places, but there's still times we never went as hardcore as he did. Angry guy.
There it is on the screen.
Been a while since we've seen.
Look at that beautiful face. Look at that beautiful face. No, but I mean, again, it's a great point to talk about. Just all these factors that we just overlook, or maybe people don't think about, that these players have to go through. All just almost the countless changes just to, again, play the same game. So there is all that added stress. We just keep getting closer. Angry.
This shot.
Well.
This shot's incredible. Yeah, I mean, you can just see it. Imagine, or remember, I should say, the finals we had. And we've seen all these guys' faces before.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them now, and it's just like, wow, they look tired.
They're tired.
All of them, just
Absolutely.
sunken eyes,
Absolutely.
bags, and
Yeah.
and that's got to be brutal. So we'll see. We'll see. High Voltage's problem last time was they didn't keep composure. They let the environment get to them, and I'm not really criticizing that. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And we'll see if they've overcome that, and they're going to move forward. But they got to get through EL Gaming first.
They do, and that is no easy task. And it's going to be what I'm fascinated. I don't think High Voltage. You correct me if I'm wrong. Really faced a team in NA that were at their level, or this played the same style as well as they did. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see High Voltage face off against EL Gaming, which could be their counterpart, could be almost the exact same to them. They're kind of facing off against a mirror. If you do that, I mean, what are some other things that might pop up that you're not used to? I mean, people are running your same strategies. They're running your. Do you like, oh hey, let's slow play it to throw them off, or do you just stick to your guns, stick to what you do, and just try to outdo them?
It's very hard to speculate on that because it depends on the team and kind of their general outlook. In this instance, I could see it being a big head game for High Voltage. They respect EL Gaming and potentially fear them. I don't know that for certain, but it is something that would be reasonable. I mean, they have made a big impact. And it's the type of team that this isn't the type of team I would necessarily be afraid of.
Okay.
Because we want to play that aggressive game. It's what I always wanted to play. It's more comfortable for me. Other people, teams that play slower and more methodical, those are the ones that wore on me.
Huh.
And I just
because I want to get this done.
Oh yeah, I don't want. I never wanted to sit there and play for 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Sure.
And it happened every once in a while, and it was brutal.
Insane.
I just wanted to be like, okay, let's go and push in the middle, and let's just see who's better at tanks. Because like we can talk strategy all day,
let's just get to
but
this,
I just want to see
guys.
who's better. I mean, that's it.
Sure.
Like the rest of this, but that was that's me after. Like a long time.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you've done every strategy there is.
Right. You're like,
You've considered
I'm
everything.
done. Let's
The
just go
strategy
toe-to-toe.
stops being interesting to you after
Sure.
you live it.
Sure.
Like 8
Over
hours
and
a
over
day
and
for
over
a
and
year.
over.
It's like, okay, cool. This is Himmelsdorf strategy number 112. That's cool.
This guy's gonna be here. This
I'll
guy's
run.
here.
I'll run 18A, and and I should win if my players, if all of us perform correctly. You know what would be fun though? We all just met in the middle and see who won.
Let's just go to
That'd be great.
Let's go to
That'd be great.
courtyard. Just fight off at the
All
courtyard.
this thinking, I've done it 100 times, but in this instance, that was 742, much more scripted. 754 is a lot more dynamic in general, and we will be moving away from it. But this is essentially the last tournament
Sure.
for 754.
Season 2 is in the
And
air.
anything that anybody had that they're sitting on, any sort of trick play, any sort
Pull
of
it out.
Now is the time.
Yeah.
You got it. And
That's true.
especially if you get down a couple games, it's time to start throwing Hail Marys, doing
Okay.
crazy stuff.
Because this is your last shot. You're kind of the last glory to use this format to just kind of give it all of its worth in the public eye in a live event. I'm excited to see what both of these teams will definitely bring for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into the tank picking any minute now. But one thing I'm going to ask you, taking Himmelsdorf, which like you're saying is just a scary map. There's these corners, there's these windows, and all these things that you just cannot expect. You even said there's just no solid plan you could ever have on Himmelsdorf because one switch up could change the whole thing.
And if you think you have one, you're lying to yourself.
You don't. Great. See,
You either don't know
This is a
enough
good
about
thing.
the map or you're losing your mind.
this is a good thing to
It
know.
doesn't exist.
Keep this in mind next time you're playing on Himmelsdorf. If anyone in your lobby gets mad at you, just be like, guys, hey, there's no
There's no perfect
strategy
plan.
for
I'll
this
put it that
map."
way. There's just good things to do. And the best teams out there, they understand that. I mean, they've been doing it since the beginning. So they're like, well, we're gonna do this, and it's our best shot. But honestly, if we lose on it, they're like, whatever.
This doesn't show that we're a bad team. It just shows this is Himmelsdorf. Ladies
Some
and
teams are good at
gentlemen,
it, some teams aren't.
here is the picking for both these teams. EL Gaming on the left, High Voltage on the right. David, what do we got?
Well, High Voltage going first with their first battery of picks with 4 IS3s, 250-100s, and what will very likely be, there it is, the AMX-12T EL Gaming with 150-100.
And that's it.
They're so confident.
Let's see.
They're just going to go 1 on 7. Never mind, let's throw in an IS3 for flavor. Probably going to need a couple more of those, at least another 50-100. And
They're thinking about it, though. Look at that.
12T,
They're thinking about it.
In this kind of instance, if you play teams that are similar to you, I kind of like using the same lineup. because then you're starting to remove a lot of the strategic options, and it's
Okay.
like, okay, head to head. Let's see who's,
see who's
better,
better, sure.
at being us. 12T, there we go. One more IS3, and that'll round this
tied
all
up.
out.
Tied up right now. Do it, EL Gaming. One more IS3. One more IS3. You can't chant that super well. One more IS3. I feel like what EL Gaming is doing right now is trying to wear down High Voltage as much as they can to try to put them on even footing with them. Oh, it's a T54.
Yeah, you know, I like that. I like that. Assuming they're on offense, which they are. They are on offense. So T54, nice. We saw Noble do that. Worked great. And it's always been sitting there, ready for the taking. Strong hill control, quick movement around. It's got solid DPM. It can actually kind of go toe-to-toe with an IS-3. Kind of, depending on the HP that it goes into.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much every tool that they need to win. But again, it's Himmelsdorf.
Yeah.
And it's real hard to just pick something and do it. And just win, you know, just win reliably. Usually you can set your opponent up to have a very frustrating, difficult match full of errors or possible errors.
Yeah.
Then you just hope they make some.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that why we're seeing Himmelsdorf so much? I mean, obviously these teams know that.
So the reason a lot of teams pick Himmelsdorf is because Himmelsdorf is often decided by skill more than strategy. And the more you focus on strategy, the more it will crush your soul. That is how this map goes.
Quote of the day.
It's just what it is. On this map,
Well,
the more you're trying to get that perfect thing, the more you are driving yourself insane.
ladies and gentlemen,
But if you just do stuff like, you know, good things not trying to rewrite
it should be
playbook,
should be solid.
and you just do it well. That northeastern push, for example, 089 line, whatever. That map's been around forever. The stuff is the same. You just do it, and you hope you play out of it. Maybe throw a little bit of a curveball in it, and that's how it goes. But they pick it largely because it is essentially balanced
Okay.
and fair.
So it's like, you know, in a I shouldn't say perfect world, because obviously they want to go 4-0 in the first map, but they're fairly confident they can pick up 2 wins. Is kind of what you're saying.
Right. So everybody thinks that they can hold twice.
Right.
And
Potentially, hopefully,
and they
get a
think their
third.
skill will buy them 1 win on offense.
Gotcha.
So then they can move into the next map on 3-1. That's essentially the goal here.
Gotcha.
In Russia and EU, a lot of teams play it because they've been playing it forever, and they're good at it, very good at it. It goes away from this overall team strategy into a lot of player individual skill and strategy, where EU and RU teams tend to shine in particular. The individual decision making as opposed to team cohesion and unit-based stuff. So they pick it a lot because they're very good at it, and they get to beat up on the people who aren't.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes total sense. Ladies and gentlemen, we are into the battle here. Ox Math is taking the first shot from the hill by Nice. In that T54, he is spotted having to back off away. A second shot going out, nothing connecting. Actually, it did look like connect onto Angry, as Angry takes another shot back there, just missing Nice, getting down behind that cover there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves the battle. This is the second match of the Pacific Rumble. Again, whoever wins this will go on to the final match at the shot, $45,000 and the title of the Pacific Rumble champions. And as you can see
I've
on
seen this before.
these tanks, they're really, really cool customized skins. But, David, what's going on?
We do have a moment.
On the, look at that. Look at that. Look at those colors.
Well, Hack's all swagged out in his new
Swag
purple
Hacks.
and yellow. We'll watch him change his name to that. Typical thing, well, maybe not typical, but we've seen it before. AMX-12T to kind of back up the IS-3's vision capability. The IS-3's kind of holding on the one line. He's a little bit hanging out there in the wind, but High Woltage has a lot of scripted rotations to kind of defend against anything that EL Gaming may throw at them in this instance. They fumbled those rotations against Noble in particular, so we didn't exactly see how it's supposed to work.
Wow, Angry Guy getting lit up by Reflection and Fox. And his 5100, a nice double tap there. Reflection, though, getting that kill. And 12T going down for High Voltage. Now, when this happened against, it was Karen Tigers in our last match, they lost to 12T, and it didn't necessarily spell the end of the game for them. I believe they even came back and won. But with that 12T down, High Voltage, obviously their options are now limited.
2 IS-3s up the 8 line, doing a little bit of exploratory movement. This is something that we don't really see that often in North America. It's a little bit of an older flavor of Himmelsdorf, and I think it definitely has a place. There are some very specific answers to what Fox has been doing, and High Voltage's positions are actually incredibly vulnerable to the type of strategy that EL is running right now. It's really going to come down to them executing extremely well. And if they can catch Black right here, they can fight their way back into the match, because otherwise they're going to start strategically losing ground and getting bottled up, and it's going to snowball into a very, very bad day.
Oh, here we go. T54 also for EL Gaming coming around the back. The shot from Black going and connecting on the Ampro, but Ampro's shot not connecting back with the tank already down. High Voltage now looks like they're getting surrounded here. Newman coming in his IS-3 to Killzone. Over in the back of Northern Cap, about to find this T54 for EL Gaming. Black now coming up, and now the three-member Shadows picks up Blue Boy's captain. That's a 5100 out of the match immediately, and the rest of the battle looks like that's going to kick it off. Ren taking a lot of damage in his IS-2, but Oxmathis is extremely low. Fox chasing down Heavy 20 along with Black. Oxmathis, one more shot, and he will get on as well as Heavy 20. They are both extremely low, and they should be going out of the fight any second. Now Fox picking up that first kill. Heavy 20 going down here. Reflection finds Oxmathis, and now just 2 tanks remain for High Voltage, 6 for EL Gaming as the Killzor finds Ren. But with just the Killzor and wall hacks alive, I'm not sure that they can survive for too much longer here. 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. It is up to EL Gaming to make that push, but they have plenty of power to push with. And the Killzor not looking healthy. This first match looks like it's going to be going over to EL Gaming.
This is one of those cases where studying the past is incredibly valuable. That strategy EL ran, not even remotely new.
Really?
We're talking so old meta, it's practically come back around to new meta. That is how you used to stop the 8-line camp.
Okay.
And everybody has moved to the 8-line camp. And EL Gaming just took a quick gander at what everybody used to do in the past. First Pro, Navi, Synergy, everyone.
Oh, there we
did
go. EL Gaming.
GG easy for EL Gaming.
Picking it up now 1-0 against High Voltage in the first match of our first battle of our second match of the night. Now, talk to me, just kind of walk me through that. So what EL Gaming just ran, you said it was just an archaic strategy that is, just come back. Obviously showing that just because we're in a new format, just because we're, the maps have slightly been changed to the caps, doesn't mean that old ways to shut down things still work. We also saw that, I think, in the first map, Noble versus EL on Steps. Like you said, they put them back in that classic position behind the rail lines. Just like you said, way back, in the 752 format, they used to work perfectly well. So EL Gaming showing that they're pulling these old, tricks out of the bag.
It makes me wonder. I mean, they've obviously changed names, or perhaps I've just forgotten names over so long. But I played Chinese teams a number of times, PAX and 2 different WCGs, etc. Not going to get into it, but it makes me wonder how many of these guys have been around for a very long time. And
Sure.
if perhaps they were on the teams that we played in the past.
Sure.
So basically how that strategy works is you do a little bit of hill control, check to make sure you got it. You do. So you do a little bit of 1, 2, 3 look. They noticed that they got a pickup over there. They noticed there was an IS-3, so they got 1 tank separation. They check the 8-line. There's multiple tanks there blocking it. And then they just shoot into the courtyard itself, just a little bit west of the 8-line. You move up into those windows, and then you have D-line control. And from there, the enemy team has to be bottled into a very nasty quadrant of the map. They're either very spread out, and you can find an opening and go for it, or all of their team or most of their team is in a very small place. And from there, if you know the windows and the ramps and the positions and everybody plays correctly, it's very, very easy to close out a win on that. So it's something that I was wondering if it changed. I mean, the old format didn't have as many tier 8s on the field at one time, so that kind of changed things. But what EL Gaming just ran is a classic, and it's a great strategy. It's one that people have given up for a long time. High Voltage's old defense that had kind of a courtyard control aspect to it.
That would have stopped it?
Or what we saw EL do last time they played Himmelsdorf is... Actually, we even saw Karen Tigers do it. All of those are the answers.
Gotcha.
And it's the meta that developed
because
to stop
of
what happens.
Sure.
And then the meta that High Voltage is running now is
It's
like what
stopping
happened
the new
after
thing.
that.
So EL's like,
So
we're back.
EL is very simply just like, well, we'll back up 2 stages of meta, and then we'll be at the forefront.
That's amazing.
Pretty much everything they've done. I've watched so much of what they've done for so long. What they did in Grand Finals was not new either. And it's just bringing back an old level of game and doing it really, really well. And I'm not trying to take away from them because it's smart strategy on its own.
Yeah.
There's very little you can do on these maps that is reinventing the wheel. The teams that have done it, a lot of times we see very standard lineups. very standard strategies. And I'll cover the lineups. We saw a little bit of the picking here. I'll cover the lineups when we actually launch into the battle here very shortly. But what I was saying is we get used to seeing a lot of the same stuff, and a lot of people probably take that as, well, this is just what the teams do. The reality is the teams have done pretty much everything else that there is left to do.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that they like or that works the best.
This is what we're comfortable with. Well, ladies and gentlemen, EL Gaming pulling out a classic. Let's see if they do it again, if High Voltage can stop them, or if they're going to take another victory on offense. We're getting ready for the battle. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
EL Gaming with two 5100s, 3 IS3s, a T54 lightweight, and a T37. High Voltage with two 5100s, 4 IS3s, and AMX 12Ts. And both teams running almost exactly the same, with EL Gaming switching out their AMX 12T for a T37.
All right. Now it looks like High Voltage is doing a little bit of a different move here. Looking like they are going for that courtyard control. Angry Guy in the 12T racing ahead, doing a little bit of scouting. So he's going for that classic, what is it, the F6 position corner there over the courtyard, doing the proxy spotting for those IS3s. And if he gets there in time, he will be able to do that. And if EL Gaming is running the same thing that they did, this, like we're saying, is the answer to stop it. Will he get there in time? Looks like he's going to make it. Turns the corner, just misses the rubble, and gets in position like a boss. Now, David, looking at where Angry Guy is right now, the positioning, how close do those IS3s have to get for them to become proxy spotted?
That occurs at 50 meters.
Okay.
So much closer to that corner than they are right now, obviously. But about, from my read from the angle you've got right now, I'd say probably about halfway across the road there.
Sure.
Is about where they'll get detected. It's a little bit finicky, but either way, and I'm talking about my read on that from here, but it's close enough. Generally, if they want to push that corner, either down the 8 or the D line, they're going to get proxy.
All right. Well, let's see if they do that indeed. Again, High Voltage now set up in a good position. Ren taking a little bit of damage there, and then IS3 as he makes it across. Another shot coming actually through the rubble there. I'm not sure what that was, but that was a beautiful pickup. One of those IS3s there. It looks like that was Ox Mathis. And man, what a shot indeed. He caught Ren on the run through that window, right? You guys see to your right. Now dropping Ren to just half health already with no damage in response onto High Voltage. 5 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock. Definitely looking a lot better for High Voltage. EL not doing the push that they were doing. A little bit of IS3 spread, but actually very spread for both of these teams. Look at EL Gaming. A nice shot from the top there. Look at that, was a 5100 there, taking down onto Ant.
So High Voltage is basically broken out the answer, or one of the answers to what EL did last time. And EL actually, if they want to start succeeding again strategically over High Voltage, they need to kind of go back to some of the reckless abandon they had before. Stop spreading out and doing these scouting runs, because now they're actually going back to the type of strategies that they themselves were beating before. This is opening up the ability for a counter-aggressive team like High Voltage to eat up the territory they leave as they spend time being slow like this, and it prevents them from getting into a group and gaining the momentum they need to close out a victory, to barrel into a place where they can really bring their guns to bear.
Gotcha.
High Voltage is just slowly choking them, squeezing in all around them, and preventing them from moving, and making them take damage everywhere they go. Maybe EL has an answer to that, but this is what will happen if you try and play 754 slow against a good team.
Yeah, you just kind of slowly lose ground all over the map simultaneously. The two IS3s kind of retreating back for High Voltage over on that B line. And yeah, the EL Gaming just kind of stalling out here, not really knowing what to do. Actually, here comes a push from two 5100s on the railroad. David, looks like they might be going for that western cap. Do you think this is a good call from them?
Hard to make a judgment read on whether that's a good or a bad idea at this point in time, because it can be good. If they come in behind the 3 line, they will kill to Killzor, and there's nothing anybody can do to stop them. They will take some damage in return, but it is a completely acceptable amount. Right now, High Voltage does nothing to actually spot them over there, and that could end up coming back in a bad way for them. But these 5100s, in order to find that gap, they need to really do something gutsy. And unless they get more scouting from that 0 line player they have, it goes beyond gutsy into reckless, for sure.
Gotcha.
And they're pretty much doing it. I mean, they took a little bit of time to scout. Here you go.
There we go. Fox
Ant
and Ampro.
is in a real bad place. And Fox, he's just going to take it. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's just
Doesn't matter. Killed an IS-3. I'm out.
There we we go. Fox getting dropped below health, but totally worth it to take out an IS-3. He is now reloading. I am assuming. No, he's actually just going to let go of the rest of his ammo. Ren, meanwhile, taking down an Angry Guy in that 12T, but the Killzor responds by taking Ren down again. Same person he killed in the last match, but the cap pressure has been applied for EL Gaming over on the western side. Fox and Reflection now both putting that pressure down to 30 seconds. Blue Boys captain taking a shot there from Nice, I believe it was. And here comes the kills. So the response from High Voltage, 27 seconds. David, we were talking about that position Reflection is in right now. The reason a lot of people don't go to Western Cap is it is so exposed. But we'll see if EL Gaming
right now
has
it's
an answer
actually a very good position to be doing it in. They're going to take shots at him as they cross. They're going to drive into auto-loading guns. Fox is still clipping, but there is another 5100 on station. Should be. He's actually not.
Oh, no, he's backing off here. Shadows taking 3 points of damage. Wallhacks does get a shot in, but it just misses one more, and he will go down to Killzor. Looks like he's nice focus to Killzor with a second kill, taking down Fox, and now pushing Reflection off the side. Ox Mathis in heavy 20. Beautiful focus fire there. Takes Reflection down. Wallhacks finally dropping there to Shadows, I believe, to Killzor now looking for that 5100. His shot actually does no damage, which is going to allow Shadows to clean him up. It is now 4 takes for EL Gaming against just 3 for High Voltage, but High Voltage is on defense. EL Gaming has to put the cap pressure on right now. A minute and 18 seconds are on the clock. A new man taking over 1,000 points of damage in his IC from the West captain, who's going to finish him off, is not going to help EL Gaming here. It looks like High Voltage might be able to pick this one up. A nice shot down the railroad tracks from Black in that IS3, connecting onto Heavy 20 in that 5100. 42 seconds remain. A minute overall. EL Gaming has to tighten this grip right now. Just a few resets from High Voltage will do it. The question is, will they be able to get those in? Meanwhile, Nice in that T-54 coming around behind, going to do his best just to kind of hopefully stall High Voltage, but it looks like he's just maybe too far out of position. A beautiful shot from Ox Mathis there in that IS3, just clipping Shadows in that 5100. They got the reset, and that's actually it, because now EL Gaming has to clear out High Voltage, and with Ox Mathis taking down Shadows, it looks like that is just not going to be the case. 27 seconds on the clock. Blue Boys captain in a 5100, I'm assuming fully loaded, is going against an IS-3 Black. Both shots actually doing no damage from both of them, but there is the beauty of the autoloader coming out of the 5100. 2 more shots. Here comes the third. That's going to connect, and it is now just Nice against Ox Mathis. Heavy 20, but it doesn't matter because apparently the time ran out, and we are back. The victory is going to be going to High Voltage there, tying it up 1-1 against EL Gaming. There we go. A nice response there. Ox Mathis did a great job. That's why I said his name. We kind of saw this in the championships. We usually see him on artillery. He does an amazing job there, but then you put him in an IS-3, and he does just as well. I mean, he's an amazing all-around player.
Top damage for his team, 2663.
There you go.
In an IS-3, next to 2280 out of Blue Boys, and 1509 for Heavy 20. Check their accuracy rates real quickly. Blue basically got in 2 accurate clips, and Heavy 20 got in 1.
Great.
Technically slightly better shooting from Heavy, but he went down pretty early. EL had that.
Really?
And they rotated the 54 a little bit late, and a couple other trades weren't necessarily good, but they really should have had that. High Voltage gave him some opportunities to get back in, but High Voltage, in kind of a bizarre twist from what we saw in the finals, was at a strategic disadvantage, and skill played their way out.
Came back, sure.
Which was, I mean, when they played Noble, they were at a strategic advantage a lot of the time, and then just did not perform as well as Noble did.
I mean,
Mostly Marsh.
That is
shooting things in the OI.
That is very, very true indeed. But congratulations to High Voltage now tying it up 1-1. We will be switching sides now. High Voltage is going to be going on the offense. EL Gaming will be on the defense. Now, EL did manage to pick up 1 victory on offense. We kind of talked about that is a lot of the reason why these teams are picking this map, is so they can have 2. You know, they assume they got 2 solid wins on defense, and they can skill their way out of 1 on offense. And that is so far what EL Gaming has done. The question is, can High Voltage stop that and pick up a victory themselves on offense here as we're getting ready to go into the 3rd match? Now, David, you said something about the 5100. I remember over when the fight started to break through on the railroad tracks over on the west side. There was a 5100 that didn't quite make it. I believe it was Shadows from EL Gaming. Is that one of the main mistakes you're talking about that let High Voltage kind of come back?
Yes, they didn't hit as many of the shots as they needed to when High Voltage was coming down the 3 line in particular. Not a lot of track shots, not a lot of solid focus fire, and the 54 just wasn't there. is the biggest thing.
Okay. Well, yeah, and then I'll do it indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are now into tank picking for our third battle.
4 IS-3s per side, 5100s per side.
Wow. Oh, mirrored up. Come on.
2 12Ts. Let's hear it.
Let's see it. What? Oh.
137.
Oh.
Why you do this? Gonna throw me off.
Well,
here.
let's see if EL Gaming will pick a T37 themselves.
They should be going with a 12T or a 5916, considering they're on offense. But I mean, I suppose they could throw us a curveball. Pick a T37. The only thing a T37 would really be good for in this situation is the depression, getting into some of the window areas and aiming down.
Yeah.
But that is not necessarily reliable damage. It's going to be very slow to come around behind up the 0 line in the event of a defensive cap reset kind of situation.
Really thinking about this one. They really.
There we go, 12C.
Hey, you were right. So it seems it's high voltage. Now maybe possibly throwing that curveball. Let's talk about the T37 versus the 12T. In the situation where they're being applied, so the 12T on defense, the T37 on offense. What are the the kind of pros and cons of both of those light tanks?
The biggest difference is, I mean, it depends in a lot of situations whether we discuss some things as pros and cons. There's a lot of small differences, little details. The big thing is that the T37 is a single shot tank, and then it reloads, fires, reloads, fires, reloads. The 12T fires 6 times in an autoloader. The 12T should win in a head-to-head unless it bounces once or twice, or the T37 gets high rolls. And those are the big differences. 12T is a little bit more maneuverable. It's faster. And it's better on offense because it fits into those little pockets where it can cap unspotted better.
All right, well, let's see if that's going to work out for High Voltage or not. Ladies and gentlemen, we're all tied up. EL Gaming versus High Voltage. EL on defense, High Voltage on offense. Let's get into it and see where these teams take this battle and who is going to come out on top this time.
We already know the lineups. They're the same,
Heck yeah,
except for the scouts. 12T versus T37. Might as well have everybody else. Just watch. Former ring in the middle. Called the Thunderdome.
Look at all these. Look at
Reflection versus Angry Guy. Battle Dude.
Yeah, everyone just sits and watches.
Everything.
Everyone just sits, watches unicorns. Battle to see who wins there, and then the other team just respect who comes out on top. That's how I think this game is being played. Yeah, see? Heavy 20, and the rest of actually High Voltage actually all pushing the hill now. A very aggressive hill push coming out from the offense here. And those beautiful cannons. I really do enjoy it. Fantastic on these tanks. Doesn't really blend in well. Looks fantastic. 6 minutes and 27 seconds as we have just started. But EL Gaming looks like they might be reading into this as they have literally put everyone but a single IS-3 over here on the eastern side going for this northern cap.
So EL is again with one thing that is too old and no longer applicable. They are again running a very standard old strategy. IS-3 back to watch, beeline, 250s in a quick rotation place. They can reinforce anywhere very quickly. D, etc., etc. One guy that's a problem is the guy in the train station. That IS-3 needs to get out very quickly, and here we go.
Ooh, Fox taking a shot from Ox Mathis. Ox Mathis with these shots today are absolutely on point. He's hitting some amazing ones against the enemy team. EL Gaming now backing off here. Those tanks around the shot, though, in return, going into wall hacks in the IS-3 from Black, who equally has been a great player here on the side of EL Gaming. We've seen him twice tonight now. Here comes the stack for High Voltage on this northern cap. They're putting 3 members over here. Now down to 30 seconds. Let's see how EL Gaming responds to this one. Now they have to respond quickly. The 5100 taking down Iron Guy, but that is to be expected. We've seen him used as a shield multiple times. Let's see if EL Gaming has to respond to this. The shot from Nice onto Ampro, getting a nice little reset there. Fox and Shadows and those 5100s just waiting for anyone to push over. Blue Boys into kills are up on top of the hill as well as Heavy 20 and Ox Mathis. They're just going to wait for anyone to try to push against their teammates. The question is, can they track him? The shot from Ox Mathis actually letting go, which means he's not going to have one. If Black does decide to push, Black and Heavy 20 exchange some shots. A little more damage going on to the 5100. Understandably, I might say 25 seconds on the clock to 2 IS-3s, holding that northern cap down. But here is the push from EL Gaming. They are going for it. It is Shadows, Ren, Newman, Fox getting tracked at 5100, and Shadows gets absolutely dominated as he comes in the corner looking for Ampro and wall hacks. A beautiful job from High Voltage to focus down that single tank. Newman taking some more damage there. We have 6 tanks for EL Gaming against 6 for High Voltage, but High Voltage does have over 2,000 HP advantage. 12 seconds on the clock. Black coming around the back to try to get a reset, a much needed reset. The bounce coming out there from Blue Boy's cap there. There's a good reset in an Ampro. Now he's going to take the shot, get out, and he's going to see how long he can do that. But to Killzor, finding nice. That's an IS-3 down. High Voltage looking extremely strong right now as they're just going to keep pushing over the EL Gaming as they know they have an overmatch. They're going to find Black first. Oxmathis just dodged the shot from Fox there, and the cap pressure continuing to build up. Black is in some trouble. One more shot, and he's going to go down. Let's see who's going to pick this one up. I'm assuming it's going to be Oxmathis, and there it is. A beautiful pickup from that IS-3. Reflection in that 12T sitting back there. Red coming around doing a much-needed job to get that IS-3 off the cap from High Voltage. Just hitting Wallhack by himself, but he is not alone. He is defended by the rest of his team up on top of the hill, and here comes Ox Mathis. Let's go! Picking up a 5100, a beautiful shot there, and now Wallhacks picks up Newman. Red is going to be going down. Ox Mathis might get this one as well. The kills or no, takes it from him, and it's just Reflection in the 12T, who should be dropping any second now. That is going to do it. High Voltage picks up another victory, now making it 2-1 against EL on Himmelsdorf, and there is their victory on offense. We talked about
there it is.
This is kind of back and forth, and they've just now done what EL did to them. If they can get one more, they're going to do a nice little lead here. But if EL can hold, which they should be able to do on defense, they will tie it up into our next map. But well played, absolutely well played for High
That
Voltage
was a
there.
refreshing game to watch. Honestly.
Yeah.
Extremely refreshing. We're going to make some decisive moves. We know they're only possible counters. And then all...
It's refreshing.
I thought you were going to go with a noise meme. Okay, whatever.
I let you down. I let you down again.
That would have been fantastic. So what I'm saying is, they made some aggressive moves. They know the counter responses that EL Gaming has to make. They're pulling them into a trap that they've rehearsed.
That was beautiful.
There's nothing new here. It's out there.
well
They've been doing it all
executed.
season for the most part, and it still works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's no time spent looking around, no time spent doing anything else. They know what to do. They've planned it. They've done the work. They got it done.
Absolutely.
EL Gaming fumbled some of the responses. Two of their 5100s only got, both their 5100s only got in one shot of damage total.
Ooh, yeah, that's no bueno.
It's a big problem.
There we go. Now on the screen, you guys are seeing just some of the highlights from that last battle. Black backing up, just getting on the corner. Angry guy sacrificing for the team, making the much-needed shield there. Fantastic strategy, which then does this. Pulls EL Gaming over in the corner and instantly deletes one of their members right there. A beautiful focus fire. And yeah, just a
It's a bad idea.
It's just
a real bad idea.
A well-done strategy, or a well-thought-out strategy, just executed perfectly. Tanks going down, and again, High Voltage ended with at least, I believe, 4 tanks still alive on their team, which is a fantastic way to end a game on Himmelsdorf. We were just talking about how hard it is to create a well-executed strategy on Himmelsdorf, and right there, High Voltage doing it beautifully. The question is, how will EL Gaming respond? They tried now 2 oldies but goodies. One worked out really well. That one, not so much. And David, we are now getting into the tank picks. Let's see what we've got.
While they did run an older strategy, older initial positions, the actual responses and whatnot are not as airtight and as scripted as they were in the past.
Gotcha.
I'm not entirely sure that strategy is possible in 754 because the tank balance is different with an additional 8 and the T1s get upscaled as opposed to 742. Their offensive strategy is timeless. The defensive strategy requires a little bit of tweaking to make it more effective there. EL Gaming was going 4 IS-3s, 2 5100s, and AMX 12T, and so is High Voltage.
The mirror matchup.
I see your lineup, and I raise you nothing. I'm making it my own.
I'm just going to take it from you. Now, this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see 2 teams. We were talking about how they're similar in their play style. Play, again, a exact identical lineup because, I mean, if you can get – now this is when it's like, hey, who's better? Like you said, who's better at being us? Which would be a huge either morale boost or possible tilt maker for either team. But
tilt maker would be closing out 2 offensive victories.
That would be a tilt maker. And High Voltage has the possibility to do that right now, ladies and gentlemen, as we are loading into the next battle. High Voltage is up 2-1 against EL Gaming. EL Gaming on defense, High Voltage on offense. Let's get right into it and see who kind of comes out on top for this battle.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Oh, side effect of getting this fancy take-picking stuff going on here is we actually get to look at the map as everybody moves out instead of the tanks.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I like it. This, when you are a battle leader, a team captain, a head crisis, this is actually most of all you want to see.
Something is going horribly wrong with every 20.
Well, okay. So, what we've got going on here is a pretty... No, that's totally yours. Just let it go. So, what we've got going on here is, again, a fairly standard spread. Looks like EL Gaming is not discouraged from the last time they ran this. They're going to try it again. They need to adjust it a little bit more. However, High Woltage is not running the exact same thing again, it looks like. This is something we've seen them run a number of times. And now EL Gaming is running more or less what they should have been running before.
Gotcha.
This is only real risk. It's the IS through the D line. So this is the danger zone of when you're talking about when you go into the old strategies. So the old strategies all have answers, very clear answers. So pretty much
you got to use them and then switch it.
Yeah, the meta progresses, and people forget about the answers. It comes back. Gotcha. So what we need, or what High Voltage needs right now, they get a spot on new man here, D line. Then they move up on hill, and they can do a sizable amount of damage through him through the windows. And then when he backs down onto the ramp, they fire on the hill, and they really light him up and do quite a bit of damage. Plus, he is stuck. If High Voltage were to respond to EL Gaming,
look at that damage.
See, here we go. Shots coming out from Blue Boys from the hill. Guess who didn't forget about this? Blue Boys.
Oh, there it is. A beautiful pickup. The 5100 taking down an IS-3 already.
In Pepperinos.
Oh,
you run this too often. Perhaps somebody over at High Voltage has been like, guys, it took me a second, but I know everything they're running right now. Like, this is we used to do this. I mean, I used to play heavy 20 in Blue Boys on this map doing these things side to side.
Let's just do this.
They should know. Now, what they need to do here is they do a little bit of an eight-line scout, and then they do the exact same thing that EL did to them in their first assault. Problem is, EL is looking to push up the hill, which is, ironically, or I should say unironically, a very standard response in the event that your original spread defense is starting to go wrong.
Just push the hill.
Counter push the hill.
Oh,
It seems like it doesn't make sense, but it does back in the old standard mode when both teams had a cap in defense. Where this is falling short right now, where this is a very bad idea, is one line is just wide open.
Gotcha, sure.
And that is
no IS-3 to defend
very that. Yeah, there they go. Okay, EL Gaming is rotating back. This is just an interesting match in general. So much old stuff coming back, and some slightly new responses to it. High Voltage not overcommitting. They're going to lock down the 3 line and make sure that EL Gaming can't get back. EL Gaming going to push down the 8 line to make sure that they don't get wrecked going across the 3 line.
This is great.
And it seems like everybody kind of understands each other right now.
A nice shot from Black there on IS-3 going across, hitting Ant Pro for a good chunk of damage there, dropping him to about quarter HP. Now they are continuing to push. Now the IS-3 battle has begun. Nice is in a bit of a predicament here. He has no one to back him up. He needs to survive as long as possible to try to buy some time to clutch it. The problem is I'm not sure that is going to be a realistic
You remember that
endeavor.
time that I said the big problem with this old strategy is the train station?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is why.
Here it is.
And here we go. 12T coming in from behind. It's going to get a little bit messy for High Voltage, but as long as they continue doing the exact same responses that it used to be used for this strategy, they should be okay. Their 5100 is going to come in late. That's going to be a big curveball for EL Gaming, but they do take down Ant, which is lasting way too long and starting to throw a little bit of a curveball at what High Voltage was planning.
Well, let's see if they can continue this. EL Gaming might be able to come back. High Voltage taking some more damage to Killzone. Now getting tracked by the 12T. And Ren taking a good chunk of damage from Blue Boys from across the courtyard. Reflection, a huge chunk of damage there going to that 12T from the IS-3 in the train station. And now Black taking some more flack from the courtyard. Wallhacks is on the cap. It's like Shadows, Reflection, and Guardian. And Ren all taking the damage. Shots going back and forth across the cap zone here over the western side. Black taking some more damage. Fox, 441 points in that 5100. Wallhacks taking a little bit as well from Shadows from the top in his 5100. A couple more shots and he should go down. They need to do something or Wallhacks will fall here. Black taking 350 points of damage there. There goes Wallhack. Shadows picks him up. It is now 5 tanks for EL Gaming against 5 for High Voltage. EL Gaming doing a great job clawing the way back. They actually have the HP lead as Heavy 20 barely gets out of there with his life. And Ren shutting down to Killzor. Angry Guy now left to die on the cap. Blue Boys captain, I'm assuming, is on the reload. Ox Mathis, a beautiful shot there onto Shadows. Reflection sitting back, doing as much as possible. Angry Guy is a nice little 136 onto Black, but he will go down. Blue Boys captain, though, a nice pickup. A 5100 taking down another 5100. A minute and 30 remain on the clock. Blue Boys captain, what an amazing shot onto Black there. And IS3 going down. It is now 3-3. HP, though, is in favor by 1,000 to EL Gaming. A minute and 18 seconds on the clock. Is up to High Voltage to make the move. They are on offense. They are the ones who have to make something happen. And EL Gaming, it looks like Reflection is already on the run, which I would assume is the right call because all EL Gaming has to do is get the resets. And no one's going to cast Reflection.
Looking grim for High Voltage to this point. They had their moment. Blue Boys took a little bit too long to get back into the fight. Needed to keep tabs. There were 2 tanks that were locking him out, but as soon as they counter-fired into Heavy 20, after Heavy 20 started poking them, Blue needed to come back on the other side to complete the wombo combo, and they were just a little bit out of sync. Heavy 20 also had a kill shot, a beautiful shot, straight through the windows. It was fantastic. Nothing wrong with it. He just got unlucky. The enemy 5100 he was shooting at happened to be turning his turret at that moment in time, and it bounced.
Oh, no.
And that one shot alone could have been everything. Blue Boys getting in there a little bit faster. Ant not fumbling in the 2v1. And Heavy 20's penetrated shot, and there is a winning match right there.
That's right.
Just goes to show you how little error it takes.
Yeah, for a match to be over.
To go from perfect answers to failure.
I mean, again, that's what makes it's just the intensity of this game
hold
rises
on.
so much. Ren taking down Ox Mathis, and there's not going to be a response for him. 4 seconds on the clock. He also Reflection find Blue Boys captain, and that is going to be EL Gaming tying it up 2-2 against High Voltage as we now go into the second map of our second match of the night. I mean, there we go. We talked about the standard. You know, hopefully you do Himmelsdorf to get your 2 win or your 2 wins on defense, potentially the 3rd on offense. They tied it up evenly, so I'm sure both teams are, they're like okay with that. They're not too shaken, and they'll be able to focus on what is next. Talking just again about how, I mean, again, 1 shot, 1 bounce, 1 slight, and it can throw the entire match. So you're saying that High Voltage had a good response for what EL was doing, just maybe unlucky, maybe
not necessarily unlucky. Well, maybe if we zoomed in on the actual face-hugging fight that happened there in the train station, maybe we would have found some element of luck there.
Gotcha.
But there's a number of things that they did that were strategically just a little bit wrong, and it is a testy thing to break, and that's one of the beauties of the old strategies is that they're very, very strong.
Right. They've had a long time.
But they have weaknesses. And if you are rehearsed and you execute against those weaknesses well, you will win. But you have to know it very well. I spoke to a Russian team captain at one point about this, and he called them basically the base strategies. Like, unless you know this, unless you've come across it, unless you've drilled it, it's a guaranteed win if he runs it against you.
Wow.
And it was true. It was 100% true. Watched him break it out all the time. They had lots of other strategies, but anytime they faced somebody who wasn't from the RU region in particular, they're like, oh, we're just going to break out our basic. Because it was a very airtight strategy that the meta had progressed past in RU, so we over here weren't actually seeing it on the stream anymore.
That's smart.
So it just didn't exist to us.
Right.
So they basically fall back to their guaranteed wins.
Yeah.
And it was strategies like this. And they started popping back up again a little bit later as they came back around, and apparently coming back around one more time. And Tofu there, leaning over, talking to
Team captain.
Angry.
Just
perhaps trying to resolve some sort of settings issue. Or maybe Tofu is just trying to bring up his latest mixtape for Angry to listen to.
Yeah, that would get me going for sure. Looks like
man, you got to get hyped. Oh, they're doing a player switch. Of course, we've seen this before.
There we go. We did. We saw this in the finals
before. Yep. Tofu coming in. Angry going out for now.
Here comes the map, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be on Ruinberg. Now, the team that instantly comes to my mind when I think of Ruinberg from last season was Elevate. They pulled out an amazing strategy about halfway through the season that kind of blew everyone away. Do you think High Voltage is going to do the same thing here? Again, it is very aggressive. It is very kind of flashy. It's out, it's out there. Not a lot of people kind of play against it or expect it. Or do you think we're going to see the kind of the standard kind of aggressive plays from both these teams as usual? The zero line push, a lot of the Delta Village control.
There may be a little bit of a swing game here, a little bit.
Yeah.
But both teams have to be aggressive against each other. EL showed some weakness on Ruinberg against Noble, for sure. Then again, Noble showed some of High Voltage's weakness on Ruinberg as well when they played in the finals. So Noble obviously has the better grasp out on the map out of the three of them. We're about to find out who has the better grasp between the two of these.
That's right.
And I feel like, based on what we saw last match and what we've seen over history, High Voltage should have an edge here. But if EL comes out incredibly aggressive and different, it can throw High Voltage for a loop.
Well, now I'm going to say, what are some of the older strategies on Runeberg that we might be seeing? What's some of the big staples of those older ones?
The older strategies are no longer applicable.
Okay.
Because the map has changed some.
Gotcha.
And the tanks are different. But the old strategy depends on the team. Basically, all of the best teams did the exact same thing. And we just took everything we had and pushed directly into Delta Village.
Wow.
Because
both sides.
Yeah. Because if you were really good, you knew how to win Delta Village, like 99% of the time.
Well, we talked about how it's still Delta Village is a very, very, very important aspect of this map. You said there's so many things you can study
about.
The big
differences now are the spawn points. The defending side ends up closer to Delta Village than it used to.
Okay.
Whereas it used to be almost even, with the south side getting there slightly faster. So south spawns further away from Delta Village, and north spawns close to it. And that changed everything.
Gotcha.
Before, it was like within seconds of one another.
So we can do it.
So it was one of the maps that that a lot of the best teams like to play, because it was another one of those maps where it's like, yeah, there's all sorts of meta and stuff, but unless
we're better.
unless you come fight me in Delta Village, you're gonna get wrecked over the long time.
Gotcha.
And if you come fight me in Delta Village,
you're gonna get
wrecked in the short time. So let's play Ruinberg because you didn't ban it, and I'm gonna get a quick, easy win off you.
Sure.
That's how it used to be.
But it's changed.
It's changed a lot. Just different locations of bushes. The terrain itself has changed. The tanks are slightly different. Some are faster, some are slower, or new tanks or whatever. And the spawn positions have changed completely. So there is no real old strategy that's effective.
That EL could go back
from the start. But the core concepts are the same. You want Delta Village control, F-Road control. You want to drag them down one side and then move on to cap in the other. Or you want to pull them one place and then pin them there. That's pretty much how it works. And on defense, you want one thing. And defense, or if you were in the north in the past, you want one thing. Delta Village control and zero line control. You want to take the east side of the map, push them west.
Okay.
And then you win. So
simple.
Defense is exactly the same as it was. You just have better spawn points. And offense is, the principles are the same, but you have terrible spawn points, and the old strategies don't really work anymore.
Yeah, so it really was up to them to absolutely come up with something new. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now into our tank picking. EL Gaming versus High Voltage. This will be interesting. Can we just find some of these talking points from both these teams? Let's see what the teams pick.
3 T54 lightweights from High Voltage, along with a 1392 IS3s and a T37. EL Gaming, 2 5100s to start off. 2 IS3s.
3 IS3s.
3 IS3s. You're correct. And we're waiting for those last two picks. Two LTTBs. So EL is on defense. This isn't an outrageous lineup for defense. We've seen it plenty. In fact, some might call this a standard, as Elevate used to run it all the time. You know what team we haven't talked about in a long time? It's Team Refuse. Team Refuse used to do this all the time.
They used to clean up on this map.
This was their jam.
Yeah.
2 5100s, 3 IS3s, 2 LTTBs.
Absolutely.
Them and Elevate all day.
Absolutely.
Till Elevate started running tank destroyers and all sorts of crazy stuff.
The center line
and Team Refuse stopped winning on Ruinberg.
Yeah, there's a few things that shifted there for both those teams that caused a lot of backlash. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is EL Gaming versus High Voltage. Like David said, EL is on defense, High Voltage on offense. It is tied up 2-2. Let's see who's going to take that slight lead. Will it be EL? Will it be High Voltage? Let's get into it. Let's get right into this.
As we mentioned, EL Gaming is on defense. See their initial spreads. High Voltage starting off in the F1-2 area. See their initial movements here. You can glean a lot from this. Like we were saying before, as a battle captain, this is pretty much all you cared about. The individual positional stuff you all knew because you did the practice. This is what you were looking at. Where do they go? What's the timing? You look at this on a clock, pretty much. You're like, okay, they get here in 50 seconds. You start doing stuff. High Voltage going ham for the north. They're going to have to pour on the gas here or show their face and then turn around, but they are still sticking with that F-row push. And EL Gaming not capitalizing on it as much as they could.
The Killzor now kind of out in the open. The Killzor taking a couple shots there on the T54. Not tons of damage. They should be able to make it out in time to Killzor. Just getting on the corner and a shot from Black and then LTTB from Delta Village. But nothing, not a lot of damage going across from either side. Technically, EL did come out a little bit on top of that, but again, not game-changing at all. Meanwhile, in the north, High Voltage putting a lot of their pressure. They're actually going to keep on pushing through. They're going to try to find Fox, it looks like, as well as Nice and Reflection. The question is, will they be able to get it before the time runs out? Nice, picking up Heavy 20 in that T54. A beautiful pickup right there. Reflection, though, is extremely low. That LTTB, one more shot, and he will be going down. 23 seconds on the clock. Blue Boys captain picks him up from the village. 307 points of damage in return in that 1390. 18 seconds on the clock. Shadows and Ren pushing from Delta Village. Meanwhile, Black and Newman having to come back. No one actually pushing through the city here.
10 seconds.
High Voltage looking extremely good to pick this one up. 8 more seconds on the clock. Fox has to get the reset. There it is. He does. They actually get 2. Both members are going down. Tofu Smurf and Oxmathis back and forth. But the response onto Fox was a lot of damage to that 5100. Another shot for Tofu. Oxmathis trying to use him as a shield. 15 seconds on the clock. Just though EL Gaming has bought enough time for Ren and Shadows to make it to the fight. Down to 10 seconds. Ren taking 361 points there. Let's see who can come from behind as the LTTB for EL Gaming might get a shot onto Oxmathis. Now down to 3 more seconds. There's the reset. Bringing it back to 19, just what EL Gaming need. The question is, now that all the tanks are in close combat, who is going to come out on top? Will it be EL Gaming? Will it be High Voltage? It is all tied up here. 6 tanks on 6 tanks. Both have lost those light tanks. Nice is going to pick up an IS-3. A beautiful pickup there as far as Ren finding Blue as captain. The Killzor trying to respond by taking Black down in the village. And now Oxmathis is stuck with a T54, an LTTB coming from behind him, but he has actually been taken down. So now it is just those IS-3s. The 5100 is going to take him. Oxmathis does fall here. Nice taking another shot, but he does live just barely. Just 2 tanks remain as Ampro goes down. It is wall hacks and a Killzor against the army of EL Gaming. And EL Gaming, looks like they're going to pick up their first victory on defense. On to Blumenberg here. Newman taken down and finding wall hacks. And there's a quick pickup there. The 5100 taking down to Killzor. And that was over relatively quickly. Within the first 4 minutes, EL Gaming shut down High Voltage here.
3 minutes.
First 3 minutes. Now
quick.
Now we were talking kind of about right in the beginning how EL Gaming, you said, didn't quite capitalize as much as they could have. High Voltage went extremely ham with those 54s.
Yeah, they could have got some more shots in the F-row. They had a lot of people lined up for it. They sent an IS-3 down the 0 line, which I don't know. I feel like 54 is a little bit better. The IS-3 is a little bit more tough, more survivable, but it's hard to pull it back and get it back into the fight. And had that been in the fight, there was a moment there where High Voltage stood a chance to actually succeed in that cap.
Okay.
And that moment never would have existed if the IS-3 was there.
Gotcha.
You have 2 LTTBs.
Gotcha.
You know, like 2 Tier 7 light scout tanks. That's probably what should be doing the scouting. That's my opinion on it. So I feel like it was a little bit of a fumble by EL, but they did come back. There's nice answers there as well. They had a 5100 and IS-3 stacked. They got a solid shot on the first 54 to go across. Pretty much deleted them.
Yeah.
And then from there, the big moment was when they either got a light on the T-37 or they blind shot him. But that's kind of the trick that I think that Wall Hacks and High Voltage were trying to bank on.
Okay.
Is that there's a number of tanks in cap, and they're the ones that look like they're the ones capping.
Gotcha.
And then you have one behind a bush.
Tricky.
Maybe he's not actually there.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But he got reset, and that's pretty much when everything went downhill. Interestingly, that's about as classic for both sides.
As Runeberg can get?
As Runeberg can get in the modern day. So we're seeing
Man,
just like
EO
a
gaming.
very like, am I dreaming?
This is
This seems like the kind of thing that my brain would just come up with if I was asleep. Like, it doesn't seem.
You actually crashed right before the show, about to wake you up and say, "Hey, we're getting ready for the Rumble event. Time to join it." That's actually not happening. This is real.
That'd be crazy.
This is real.
That'd be
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
crazy.
the Pacific Rumble. EL Gaming up 3-2 against High Voltage. We're getting ready to go into the picks again for this next one. But do you think we're going to see, like you said, if the IS3 was there for EL, then High Voltage wouldn't have stood a chance. So, I mean, do you think High Voltage realize that? Like, all right, guys, what we just did is not going to work this time? Or do you think that there was a possibility even without IS3 in the position?
Considering that High Voltage is still running up the F road after Noble utterly ruined them for going up the F road so frequently, I have concerns, I guess is the best way to put it, about High Voltage's overall strategy and plan for the map.
Okay.
Now, maybe they're trying to display something that they've done before, and then they're going to break out some special thing, or more likely than not, they watched High Voltage, or EL play against Noble earlier, where they played on this map, and EL was very focused on the 0 line. They figured, well, if they do that again, we'll capitalize on it.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
On the flip side, if their 54 didn't explode as soon as it drove across, there was a chance they could have won as well.
Oh, all right.
And there's a couple other things that they probably could have worked out, but it wasn't completely wrong. They could do it again, and they could adjust it so it works. But as of the last match, I'm not necessarily giving them the favor right now.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, the next match is underway. EL Gaming versus High Voltage. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
The lineups are almost exactly the same. We'll go with that as soon as they spread out. Actually, you can see the tank names as they move. So
beautiful.
Incredible.
Technology.
I'll bring it up. So we've got 2 5100s, 3 IS3s, and 2 LTTBs for EL. They didn't change. High Voltage, 4 IS3s, 1390, T54 lightweight, and MT25. So they did change just a tad.
The MT25 Wallhack's going ham now by himself, already over on that eastern cap, the number 2 cap you guys see in the bottom kind of right-hand side of the corner of the map there. He just got to do a nice little scouting run inside to keep up there, finding everyone on Delta Village. Now with that cap pressure on, let's see how EL Gaming responds to this. They do have good Delta Village control. Nice and Fox is over on the side, a little bit out of the fight. And here comes the cavalry for High Voltage. 3 IS3s pushing up into Delta Village. Let's see who is going to come out on top.
Here's my immediate concern with the head-to-head that's developing right now is High Voltage is running 1 1390. That's the only autoloader. And EL Gaming has 2 5100s. You get into a head-to-head fight here where Nice is able to get over here and both LTTBs are able to get over here and both those 5100s come to bear. You can have a tank lineup mismatch really quickly. So High Voltage needs to get positional and strategic advantages on them and start soaking a little bit more HP off of them so that they can win the head-to-head when it inevitably comes about. They do have a slight terrain advantage, but that can go bad on them very quickly.
It's got to go now because EL Gaming only has 7 more seconds. It looks like it's going to be Fox and Shadows in that 5100 come around the side. 4 more seconds. They try to put the cap pressure on. 2 seconds. It's up to EL Gaming to respond right now. It's down to 0. They get the reset of Wallhacks. Not only that, but they get the kill. The MT25 now fallen for High Voltage. It is a 6-on-7 almost instantly, and the fight has begun. High Voltage just getting surrounded and lit up on all sides. Up Porox Mathis. 1 more shot and he will go down. Shadows though going to get picked up. Token Smurf goes down and Reflection finds Dox Mathis. It is a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of EL Gaming. Blue Boys captain picks up Black there. Now tied 2-2. Ampro though going down. Reflection picking that one up. Just 3 tanks remain for High Voltage. EL Gaming sitting pretty with 5. 2R1 shot. So if they can go out, the kills are finding one of them. That's 1. It is now a 4-on-3. And if Fox can go down that 5100 before he has a chance to reload, that might be able to tie us up, but it looks like he is just too far gone. And he has an LTTB and an IS3 to defend him. Heavy 20 in that 54, finding Newman.
Oh, big mistakes on EL Gaming's part right here. Nice is isolated to Killzor, trying to go after him. He has 1 more shot to take down a Killzor, but Blue Boys and Heavy 20 are coming in to finish him off.
There we go. Let's see see if they can pick up about 677 points of damage, dropping into about half health. And here come the team of High Voltage doing their best to save their friend. Nice, though, does finish off the kills, or Blue Boys captain taken down Nice. It is now a 2v3, an extremely close match. Heavy 20 trying to get out there as quick as he can. No, he's not going to make it. A beautiful pickup from Reflection there all across the map in that LTTB, leaving just Blue Boys captain to sit behind the fallen ally of EL Gaming. Newman is going to come in and pull him one shot and take him down, and that is going to be EL Gaming picking up their 4th victory against High Voltage. One more, and they are going to move on to the finals here. And that is going to be a very exciting matchup indeed. But again, these maps are these battles are so quick. We're, like you're saying, we're seeing High Voltage, we're seeing EL Gaming, two teams that are extremely aggressive, and we're seeing them clash, and they're over instantly. And so it really does come down to those precise moments.
On top of the speed and the aggression of things, part of the aggression affecting the speed, it's the knowledge. The overall knowledge of what's going on here. They know there's no time to be looking around for things or spending a lot of time feeling things out because they know these things. They already have the ability to deduce what they have to do, what they know they need to do.
Sure.
So it cuts out a lot of that middle time.
Like, we're just going to go.
That some other teams spend. And what we saw right there, so Nice made a little bit of an error going into the F-Road by himself, which allowed the mismatch from High Voltage, but High Voltage ultimately made a bigger mistake by trying to finish off Nice and putting everything into the F-Road.
Gotcha.
They needed to maintain some sort of control. But ultimately, what was the issue here? A tank lineup mismatch.
Okay.
We talked about it in the beginning.
Yeah.
113.90 does not equal 250-100s.
In head-to-head.
If those 250-100s had played better, so remember, they came in at 2 completely different vectors.
Right.
Very spaced apart. It's not how that's supposed to go.
This was coming together.
They're supposed to be battle buddies. They come in together, and they
share
switch.
HP.
They share the HP. Simple. You take 3 shots out of 1390. I take 3 shots out of 1390. We both shoot all 6 of our shots directly on target, and that is 2 to 3 tanks gone, and a clipping 1390 we no longer care about, and it's just easy peasy. It's over.
Right.
So a little bit of mistakes coming out from both sides, but ultimately just a flat-out strategic and lineup dominance from EL Gaming from the beginning of match 1 on Ruinberg.
I mean, again, this is
match
not,
2 on Ruinberg. Sorry.
Yeah, this has got to be not just a stressful time right now for High Voltage. Obviously, they want to win just as badly as EL Gaming does. But one thing we did kind of talk about, seeing kind of these Asian teams, how they just kind of cut out that point where we're talking about NA doesn't quite have, where they get into a situation and they they don't freeze. They just, hey, we're in it, we got to go now. And I am seeing that from EL Gaming as well. Just in that center fight by the Delta Village, like once they're in, like, all right, guys, we're here, let's just go. But here we go, coming up on the tank picks, EL Gaming versus High Voltage. This is High Voltage's final chance. They cannot let EL Gaming have a single one. They need to come back and win the next 3 in a row. So tank picking is going to be crucial for them. David, what do we got?
Well, High Voltage is going with 4 IS-3s at 5100 and 2 LTTBs on defense. EL Gaming is going with 2 IS-3s, 2 1390s, 2 LTTBs, and I was going to say what would likely be a 5100 on offense. Now this is new meta. This is new meta for us. We haven't seen this at all, and this has some immediate broadcasts to it. So 1390s can actually probably do the F-Road run all the way up to the corner of Delta Village. Remember we talked about how the old strategy is to get to Delta Village from the south as quickly as possible.
Right.
That's why these teams are going down the F-Road. It's the fastest way to get to Delta Village.
Right.
They know if they take it from the south, they'll be okay. So what they need to do here is get in there with their 2 1390s, either down the F-Road into Delta Village or through the B road into the northern area. But those are pretty much the only 2 places they can take them. They got to get close with the 90s and back those 90s up with a 5100 IS-3s and do a little bit of troll maneuvering with the LTTBs. Basically, they're going one of 2 ways, and as soon as you see the 1390s, you know where they're locked in.
Well, let's see if High Voltage can read that and have a quick response, like you're talking about. Maybe, or we haven't quite seen this in NA, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond. Or will EL Gaming get the
F-Road LTTB, and that's going to give them the intel they need to make a decision with the 90s, and those 90s will either go 0 line and up or probably back around. That is my guess at this point, because feel like this wasn't necessarily the fastest way to do what they're doing, but it is a safer way to do what I was talking about.
Gotcha.
They're only committing the LTTB. The problem is it's not as effective because right now they could essentially be right there on top of an IS-3 lighting them up.
Getting ready.
Instead, they're going all the way down the 0 line, and they're going to try and play a long-distance sniping scouting game. Shadows is going down. Ren and Black really need to be lighting up to Killzor right now, or Heavy 20 in the 5100.
Beautiful shot there from the 5100, picking up Black, going down to Killzor now, going to continue his rampage right down the 0 line here, as he's just going to scare off Ren and Black in that IS-3. A beautiful pickup there, getting tracked from Reflection. A nice shot in that LTTB, but a tank down already. Not just a tank, an LTTB for EL Gaming. The cap pressure, though, is being applied. 35 seconds now on that cap. Now over in the corner, nice, getting a shot. And a nice little reset there, coming out for high voltage. Ren, a lot of damage, over 1,000 points there. One more shot, and he will go down to Killzor. Pumping out a lot of damage there, but 5100, 5139 taking out Amp Pro and a Killzor back to back. Now High Voltage starting to lose this amazing grip they had, but EL Gaming getting lit up. Blue Boys captain taking down Fox, and the EL Gaming having to come off of the cab going into Delta Village. Heavy 20 backing off in his 5100 token Smurf now. Getting surrounded. He has no one to back him out of this one. Let's see if he can tank down a single tank before he goes down. 511 points of damage. One more, and he will be biting the dust. Reflection is going to pick that one up.
He is great, isn't he?
EL Gaming now has control of this Delta Village.
Seriously, Reflection is just all over the place. I mean, they have a lot of star players, honestly. And Reflection and Black really stand out to me as consistent. Black's maneuver there at the end pretty much just sealed a lot of the 0 line play they have. Now, EL Gaming is still in a bad position. They're 3K down, and their biggest difference was they didn't commit the 90s hard enough. They tried to play this long-distance sniping game and ease into it and be all safe, and you can't. You just can't.
Sure.
Not with these. The 90s suffer when you start doing that because they do not absorb damage well.
Okay.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility for EL, but every second they waste here, letting Blue Boys and some of these other people coming around behind them, is another moment that they are losing that they really need to be capitalizing on and starting to whittle down this damage differential. 2.2 thousand difference.
That is not a small number if you are the attacking team, especially if you're an attacking team that has now had their position switched and have to push in against the defending team here. Alex Mathis doing a little bit of damage against Newman. Newman dishing it right back at him. Heavy 20 missing that shot at the 100. It looks like they are looking for this IS-3. Wallhack's getting extremely aggressive. 580 points there. And Alex Mathis is going to clean him up. It is now just 4 tanks remaining against 4 tanks for both of these teams, but EL Gaming below 1,000. High Voltage sitting pretty at 2,600 now. As Alex Mathis takes a shot from Black. Huge shot from Black. Getting tracked, but he's just going to delete him. A beautiful shot there. Ren now trying to do damage to that IS-3 to try to respond for his lost comrade, but Alex Mathis is just going to back out of there. A beautiful
We're
pickup.
Down a 900 difference. Reflection pretty much soloing Heavy 20 from all the way down the 0 line. Black getting in too many shots before he went down. Ren, if he takes down Blue Boys, which he does in one shot, they're starting to look like they might be able to bring it back.
Let's see if they can. Nice, though. It's extremely low here. Wallhack's taking damage from the back. He takes a shot again. Wallhack's Mathis does pick Nice up, but Wallhack's might be going down himself. Reflection with another shot. Might be able to pick him up. No, the shot goes in. Doesn't make the damage. Wallhack's gets out in time. 2 minutes and 34 seconds on the clock. 643 from High Voltage against 570 from EL Gaming. They have clawed their way back into this one, and they might have this. Heavy 20 and Reflection now going toe-to-toe. If Reflection can take Heavy 20 down, this might be the game. No! Heavy 20 shuts him down, and that might do it with EL Gaming only with 7 HP remaining. High Voltage should be able to pick this one up unless Ren does something completely godlike and goes massive ham.
Big mistake there from Reflection. Now, I'm not going to hate on him too much because he's a big part of why the team even got to there to begin with. But he poked the other side of the building in an incredibly predictive way, and it's a very small traverse for Heavy 20 to pick him up. He basically just let Heavy 20 have him, and that pretty much ended the game because if he was one shot away from putting down Heavy 20. Very good odds. One shot away.
Yeah.
At which point, both of the remaining tanks are essentially one shot away between him and Ren. That is not a particularly difficult thing to do to clear out two 1390s, but Ren can take down Oxmath if he gets a one-shot back.
Oh, let's see who is going on. Oxmath's shot misses, but so does Ren's 3. Was looking good, and Woltage shutting down Ren there.
Whew.
High Voltage picking up a very close victory there.
Way
now
too
making
close.
it 3-4. I mean, they had a over 2,000 point lead. I mean, 3,000 I think at the height of that match. And I mean, EL got it close down to just a couple shots. I mean, again, great shot, great job from EL, great job from Reflection, but High Voltage did seal it, did finish that one out, and
So,
we're gonna have another man.
when we were going through the regular season, I'm not going to say who, but one of the pro players mentioned to me, he was like, "You never compliment anybody's LTTP play ever. You always say it's almost good," and I was like, "Yeah." So he asked me why. I was like, because I've seen maybe some of you guys do it like occasionally really well, but it's not consistent. You want to see what consistent LTTV play looks like? Check out Reflection, 2.6k damage. That's top of his team.
My gosh.
On Ruinberg, he pretty much soloed a 5100, and it's like, okay, but he got to snipe, he got to do whatever. He made those opportunities. That's the difference. He always drove into a place where he knew he had camo advantage, where he was going to get away. These are the small details that make that a hard role to play. And he's just absolutely all-star at it. Shadows, however, did not perform as well in his LTTP. He just got vaporized early with a kind of a weak zero-line scout. And if he had just been around for 300 damage, 400 damage, that's the rest of the team right there.
Right, that's so true.
And quite frankly, there was just very small fumbles from EL. Otherwise, that could have been a very, very different game.
Whew. I mean,
We just need to be a little bit more hardcore with the 1390s.
We're talking about kind of these matches that might be like upsetting to lose against, but I feel like if you're EL Gaming and you lost that one, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad at all. I mean, you were down 3K, you clawed back amazingly. I mean, I bet they are so confident right now. And again, High Voltage, it's still 4-3. They still just need to pick up one more. They got extremely close on offense there, and they just got to do it again. And this time, just kind of get those extra couple shots, and they will take it.
So that's more the kind of thing, it's like you talk to him and say, all right, guys, we had 2 games on them. We should have just closed it out. It was real close. It's kind of amazing we were able to pull it back. We only got to win 1 more. They got to win 2.
Right, we're good.
We're not sweating it too much, especially if they know for certain that they're going to win the tiebreaker side choice. Because then it's like, okay, well, we should close this out. But even if we don't,
no problem.
Whatever, we're going to get defense on whatever map we want.
Makes sense.
High Voltage going with 4 IS3s, 5100. And 2 LTTBs. EL Gaming, will they change 2 IS3s, 2 1390s, a 5100, and probably 2 LTTBs? A WZ-131 would be a nice change up.
Oh, there it is.
To the 2 LTTBs, because it would have a little bit more of that alpha, and it's a nice little switch around.
Gotcha.
But as it is, not a big deal. Wally looks pumped.
Wally there on your screen, guys. He's ready to go. It looks like the team of High Voltage is set in. They are on lock, and ladies and gentlemen, this is it. If EL Gaming can pick this up, they will finish it. It's up to High Voltage to tie this up, to have a chance to face off against the next team. Let's get into it and see what EL Gaming can do.
There are the lineups one more time. We'll check out the map for these initial spreads. EL looks like they're doing the exact same thing, honestly. Probably just going to dial it and do a little bit better. They almost had it. And then High Voltage is doing roughly the same thing they did before, slight adjustments from what I can see. And they definitely don't seem like they're going to be risking the IS3s down the 0 line so quick, and that was their biggest mistake. This is a situation where those 1390s actually, had they gone straight F-road into Delta Village right now, EL Gaming would have won.
Oh, really?
Just would have won. Yep. They take that corner. There's nothing there to stop them. They get everything else in. IS3 straight to Delta. They've got it all on lock. LTTB on cap. GG easy at that point, honestly.
Gotcha.
High Voltage giving them a little bit too much room in that area. Not expecting them to go overly aggressively, I guess, which seems like a weird assumption for EL Gaming.
So when I said EL Gaming was switching up, I was talking about this moment right here. This is when they're switching up.
Oh, yeah, obviously. I forget that you live in the future.
Yeah, sometimes.
So EL, I mean, here we go, right? So they deployed the same way they did last time, gave it a little look. Now they're going to switch it up. but I don't know if that's the right decision because they had all the room in the world down there, and now they are driving directly into the waiting jaws of High Voltage. They don't have any particular scouting to tell them that this is a good idea. It's just pure meta play, straight from the head. They either didn't get the spots they wanted, but honestly, they should know this is here.
Here we go now, and they're just going to come over on the corner, look for Ampro to see if they can light him up, but they're taking a lot of damage in return. Ren, 409, Ampro and Reflection now going head-to-head with Shadows to back him up. Over 700 points of damage now TDB, and Shadows is going to pick up Ant, but a lot of damage have gone over onto EL Gaming for that takedown. The question will be, is it worth it? And only time will tell here. Cap now beginning to apply for this northern pressure on EL Gaming. They have a couple tanks. They have 3 tanks now on that. A reset going through Shadows, Newman, and Nice. Nice taking a good chunk of damage there from some IS3s over by Delta Village here. Forced to get off the Cap. Black, 394 points in his 1390, and his Village control going over well for High Voltage, who now has over a 2,000 HP advantage, but that did not stop EL Gaming last time from making it extremely close. Blue Boys captain picking up Fox in that 5100. Now that is another, that is a tank falling for both teams. It is a 6-on-6. Wall hacks now taking some damage. Just forget the Cap, trying to push in to find any sort of kills they can, but it is not looking good for him. Oxmathis picks up a kill, but he will go down himself to Nice, who finds that him in the IS-3. The Killzor is fully healthy now, coming to join the battle. Wallhack taking some shots in the back. Beautiful focus fire coming up from EL Gaming, but the Killzor taking Reflection down. That is one of the, as we were saying, the star members of EL Gaming falling, which leaves just Ren, Nice, Newman, and Shadow. The Killzor Heavy 20 and Blue Boys captain, who picks up Shadows in that LTTB. Just 3 tanks remain for EL Gaming, 4 for High Voltage, and it looks like High Voltage might be able to pick this one up. Ren taking down Blue Boys captain, trying to tie this up to Killzor, finds Nice. Newman now against Tofu and Heavy 20. Ren might be able to pick up the Killzor here if he is loaded, but it looks like he's not as he's retreating. Tofu Smurf picking up Newman, and ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going into a 5th match, a tiebreaker match between EL Gaming and High Voltage. Both of these teams are extremely aggressive. Both of these teams deserve to have this next spot and a shot at $45,000 here. Heavy 20 running at 5100, extremely aggressive. I mean, he knows against the 1390, he has got this easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 2 minutes and 54 seconds on the clock. Ren taking down the Killzor. Heavy 20 says, hey, that's my friend. That's my shot caller. And there it goes. All tied up. High Voltage versus EL Gaming. We're talking about how similar these teams are in strats, how similar they are in tank picking, how similar they are in meta, and now they are similar in score. I want so badly for the tiebreaker map to be mine.
Yeah, and it looks like it's Lakeville.
It's Lakeville, which High Voltage struggled on against Noble on the finals.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
How's this going to go?
Well, I mean, they obviously should have practiced it quite a bit.
Yeah, probably went home and dreamt about it a lot.
This is one of those situations where it's like, well, when you fall down, you just got to get back on that horse as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And this is that moment.
Yeah.
This is, you know, this could be real painful, or it could be everything they need to get back in the game.
So true.
Get back in the game completely. And I feel like they kind of already are, although EL Gaming in that last match had them and totally threw it away.
Really?
And EL Gaming definitely should know better.
Just switching.
They should know better. They either do know better and made a mistake, or somehow that whole rotation spotting ideal of how to run Ruinberg in that instance, just they hadn't learned it yet. But that was very strange because they had everything.
Just keep pushing.
And they knew where High Voltage had to be. And they went directly into where High Voltage wanted them to be anyways. And I don't understand how that happened. In a logical sense. I mean, I understand that people make mistakes.
Stuff happens. Yeah.
That happen all the time. I mean, we ran strategies where it's just dumb. Many times. Many times. Everybody does.
Yeah.
It happens.
I run dumb
You
strategies.
psych yourself out.
I run dumb strategies sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, you psych yourself out and you just do the wrong thing. It happens. So that's just my best guess as to what went wrong with EL there, because honestly, that's 2 matches in a row that they almost had,
right,
and didn't.
Right. Well, and now talking about what we were talking about before, which was EL Gaming going, all right, well, we can let's close them out here, but if not, it's fine. We're going to go into the tiebreaker match, assuming that they're going to be the ones to pick. Oxmath is there, as you guys see on the replays, taking those kills. That fight in that village. Again, those two villages really are the keys to both of these caps. Over on the northern side is definitely the village right there, and EL Gaming knew that if they didn't take it, High Woltage was going to walk all over them. They tried to contest it. It did not work out for them. And just a well-played strategy. Basically, well-played walking into the trap of High Woltage there at the end to tie it up 4-4. Again, the victors of this will go on. They will be one of the finalists to potentially win $45,000 and the title of the Pacific Rumble Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, what you guys are seeing is live from Tokyo, Japan. Both the teams there. We have High Woltage on the right. EL Gaming is on the left, and it all comes down to this onto Lakeville. I mean, if High Woltage can pick this up here, I gotta just imagine that is a huge morale boost for them. If they can just pick up this Lakeville win, they gotta be feeling good here. We are getting into the tank battles. This is gonna be it. EL Gaming versus High Woltage. David, let's see what we got for tanks, and will we have an artillery?
High Woltage with 3 T-54s, 2 IS-3s, a T-32, and maybe an FE-304? Nope, T-37. Meanwhile, for EL Gaming, 2 IS-3s, probably at least 2 T-54s. Probably.
Look at them. You gotta be thinking a lot too in the situation. Maybe throw some mind games or some all right, guys, what would we pick? Let's not pick what we would pick because we're not us. You know that whole mind game that
I know that I would know that I know.
That you know.
Is that where you're going with this?
That's exactly.
We should not go there with this.
Where we would go.
Hey,
look at it. It worked.
There we go. 2
T-54s.
IS-3s, 2 T-54 lightweights, 1 AMX 1390, a 5100,
and FE-304.
12T.
Okay. I mean, you're gonna be right.
T21.
T21.
Hey, actually, no.
No, it's a 12T. If you read it backwards, it is a 12T. You were right.
Oh, that hurts. That makes sense. That actually does make sense. It's for the camo and for the V range and everything else that it is. It's often the tank that people use to go up the inside of the town water line.
Okay.
The 7 line, I think it is, in order to get those initial spots. So there's a little bit we can divine from what's going on here. Will be EL Gaming on offense.
That's Will.
And High Woltage is looking at the ability to redeem themselves from what happened last time.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about redeeming themselves to us.
No.
I'm talking about redeeming themselves to themselves,
Absolutely.
which is bar none the most important thing here.
Yeah, we already know you're awesome, High Woltage. But yeah, this is for them. I mean, if they can pick this up, it's gonna be like, hey, look, see, we did this, and now hopefully Noble wins the next one, and then we get to beat them and show that we should have won along. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, EL Gaming versus High Woltage is all tied up 4-4 on the Lakeville. Let's get into it and see what happens, because these will be the finalists, or one of these teams will be the finalists. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got. Now you saw what we got for our tanks, what we've got for our lineups as far as where they're gonna be going.
So what we've been talking about is basically this spot right here and this spot right here are the two ones the T21 typically goes to. Now, EL has been very different for the most part. So already they're not doing what we expected them to do. Perhaps they'll go here, or perhaps they will just continuously confuse me with the positioning that they want to take.
Do it!
And take it all the way over to the valley. Nope, they're going to take it. We'll see. We'll see the final destination of that one. Looks like going to move down the 4 line. This is interesting, though, because they left 2 IS-3s in the 8-9. So they have absolutely no vision about what crossed the 4 line. They don't actually know how many tanks from High Voltage are there. And I have to call that into question because it is one of the most vital parts of playing Lakeville, and it always has been. Getting that middle crossing light. And if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
And what you don't know is often what kills you.
And what kills you makes you stronger. Now T-37 wall hacks up the side, taking a lot of damage actually. Heaty's gonna go down. Shadows picks that one up. A huge mistake coming out there from High Voltage, just poking up way too far. And he's gonna pay the price from that. The T-37 going down. He is now out of this fight.
F.
Yeah, press F to pay respect, guys. Look at that. Now Shadow's getting lit up himself, but that looks like it's going to be EL Gaming's key to keep pushing over. They do already have a tank down. It is a lower tier tank. Black getting tracked there. Heavy 20 as well as DeKillzor doing a great job there along with other T54 Blue Boys captain. Some more damage onto Fox, but now they have made it through, and Heavy 20 and team are on the retreat. Fox taking more damage. Blue Boys captain looks like he's just going to hold down the fort, maybe doing some sacrifice plays to try to get as much damage as possible. He is now turning his turret to Newman here. Two shots now going through, but Ren picks up Fox Mathis. Meanwhile, over on the side, the T-32 going down, and that is 2 tanks fallen for High Voltage. Still 7 up for EL Gaming, and High Voltage is in a bit of an interesting spot here with these T-54s behind the hill on the cap. Reflection pushing the T-21. Here comes the IS-3s from the city. Fox, though, taking a good chunk of damage, but I'm not sure High Voltage is in the best position.
They're not. I completely understand at this point what EL is doing. I'm honestly disappointed in myself for not noticing
How dare you.
what was going on here. But this is unwinnable for High Voltage.
Here he goes, as we see Black picking up Heavy 20.
From the moment the lineup's locked.
Blue Boys captain going down. I can't wait to talk about this one later. Newman might be going down to Killzor. Looks like he, though, is just kind of sitting back. Amtro does pick up Newman there, but that is 6 tanks against it. Now 1. Which is to Killzor, who is full health, going over the hill. And that is going to do it. That is going to be the end for High Voltage here in the Pacific Rumble. EL Gaming is going to be going to the finals, facing off against either Noble or CT Karen Tigers. And they are playing for, again, $45,000 and that title. The Kills are now being surrounded. Cap pressure on just for fun. Kills are now on his way out. He's trying to run. High five. He's out of there. Fox taking out that kill. EL Gaming picking up their 5th victory now. Again, are going to be the finals. And David, let's talk about that, because you just said from the moment they locked in, it was over. What does that
Pretty
mean?
much.
Okay.
So here's the deal. The only way that was going to be winnable for High Voltage is if their IS-3 or both or more was over in the west side in the valley. They needed to be able to go toe-to-toe over there. They were outgunned already, and the only weakness to what was going on there was either if they counter-pushed and picked up those IS-3s, which they shouldn't do, or if they took 4-line control and recognized exactly where EL was coming from, which they shouldn't do. And they really just had to have banked really hard on people coming down from the valley, which they shouldn't do. So what EL did was a nice little meta game. They're like, we don't need to spot the middle because we know what you're going to do. You're going to leave 3 guys in the east because they brought heavies,
That's
right?
a game.
So they're like, okay, you're bringing 3. You're going to leave probably at least 3 guys in the east. But even if you don't, because you have to leave at least 1 or 2 based on the lineup that's going, right? So they bring them over and they put them. They take everything else into the valley. And when they come down there, they know they have a tank mismatch. As long as they don't lose a tank the instant they come over the valley itself, they're pretty much in control. High Voltage ran, which gave them everything that they wanted. Had they stayed there and gone toe-to-toe, maybe they could have skilled their way out and bought time. But the IS-3s of EL Gaming just came in, picked them off as they came across. Basically, think about it this way. Everything that we saw Noble do to them on Lakeville, especially that hard push, there is Angry Guy's dad, Angry Dad, as he is
Angry's
known.
dad.
And that is, he's disappointed for his son.
Sure. They got close.
Him from before.
They got close, but just not enough. EL Gaming picking that one up.
So what I was saying is you remember what Noble did, and you take out the middle portion, the looking for tanks.
You're like, hey, we can skip that part.
Because they deduced, they knew, they had the timing down, and they looked at the lineups. And it's a very, very knowledgeable play there. EL Gaming did one of 2 things. They either threw the dice really hard, or they knew exactly what they were doing.
I'm going to go with the second one.
And from what I've seen so far, they knew exactly what they're doing, and that is a level of Lakeville we haven't seen in NA yet.
Nope.
And that was impressive.
We'll see if teams from NA or any other teams watching that will use that, or if they're going to kind of create a head game of their own. But that doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, because that is going to do it for our second match. Congratulations to EL Gaming, who is going to be one of our finalists, and they will be facing off against either Karen Tigers or Noble Gaming, which will be decided after the next match. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Fuel melts steel beams.